All right, Shalom. First and foremost, want to give all praises to Yahawah, Ba'ashem, YAHAWASHI, Ba'ashem, Rakak double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the whole collective Israel. And the title's lesson is going to be, I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start this lesson off in the book of Exodus, chapter 3, so the top of verse 1. Now Moses kept the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian, and he led the flock to the backside of the desert and came to the mountain of the Most High, even to Horeb. And the angel of the Lord answered unto him in a flame of fire out of the midst of a bush. And he looked, and behold, the bush burned with fire, and the bush was not consumed. All right, verse 3. And Moses said, I will now turn aside and see this great sight, why the bush is not burnt. Verse 4. When the Lord saw that he turned aside to see, the Most High called unto him out of the midst of the bush, and said, Moses, Moses. And he said, Here am I. Right, so we can pretty much go into likening this to us awakening to this truth. All right, the Lord, put in his word in his servants, the prophets, all right, to wake up his elect. Okay, so us having ears to hear and eyes to see, being able to hopefully elect, this is pretty much going into our calling. All right, so continuing, verse 5. Because that's what the Lord does. He raises up saviors. All right, Moses in this time was the savior for Israel. All right, but as in the book of Obadiah, the Lord said he's going to raise up saviors. Okay, so, but continuing verse 5, and he said, Draw not nigh hither, put off thy shoes from off thy feet, for the place wherein thou standest is holy ground. Verse 6, moreover he said, I am the power of thy father, the power of Abraham, the power of Isaac, and the power of Jacob. And Moses hid his face, for he was afraid to look upon the Most High. All right, ashamed. All right, it's verse 7. And the Lord said, and the Lord said, I have surely seen the affliction of my people, which are in Egypt, and have heard their cry by reason of their taskmasters, for I know their sorrows. Okay, so, going into the affliction. Okay, that's why in the book of Revelations, Revelation 18:11 says, and the dead body shall lie in the street of the great city, which is spiritually called Sodom in Egypt. All right, where also our Lord was crucified. So going into calling this place is so-called America being spiritual Egypt is because the bondage, okay, the great hell we get put on us here in this land. Okay, think about how we got over here. Okay, we got brought over here on cargo slave ships. All right, going into the southern kingdom. All right, and the northern tribes, they were oppressed by the same devil. Okay, they were already here, but they got a pretty much a head start on the ass whooping. Okay, that these devils put upon us. Of course, being the sword of the Lord, all right, chastising us because of our disobedience. But nonetheless, going into Egypt, all right, this is the great place of our great captivity. Okay, so going in to continue, all right, but going back to verse 6, though, going into, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob. Okay, the Lord didn't say I'm the God of all the nations. Okay, he said I'm the God of a specific people. Okay, so, and that's why I'm gonna go on and after reading this, I'll get it. This is Malachi chapter 3, verse 6. For I am the Lord Yahawah, I change not. Therefore, you sons of Jacob are not consumed. So, again, going into the election, okay, the elect of the Lord, okay. So, not going too far off. I'll go back and to this Exodus, because going again to making a comparison, to what's getting ready to happen here in these last days with this great salvation the Lord is getting ready to do for his people. Okay, he elected his people to be specific. Okay, so this is Exodus chapter 3 and in verse 8. And I am come down to deliver them out of the hand of the Egyptians. Okay, so the modern day Egyptians would be the so-called Americans. All right, and to bring them up out of the land unto a good land, and a large unto a land flowing with milk and honey, unto the place of the Canaanites, and to the Hittites, and to the Amorites, and to the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites. So going into the Lord, delivering his people, and then putting them in and setting them up in their holy land. Okay, so pretty much giving them the kingdom. All right, so it's verse 9. Now therefore, behold, the cry of the children of Israel is come unto me. Okay, so the cry of the children of Israel. Okay, so the Lord's people, being you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans. Okay, those are the only people that the Lord is dealing with. Okay, and to be specific, in this time, he's only dealing with the elect of Israel. Okay, because here in the time of Egypt, the Lord delivered everybody out of ancient Egypt. All right, as far as his people. All right, we know all of them died in the wilderness, but as far as them getting delivered from the Egyptians, okay, that's what the Lord did. Okay, he delivered all of them. All right, but that's not going to happen here in this time, here in these last days. That pretty much the times we're in now. All right, but continuing, I read again, Exodus chapter 3 and verse 9. Now therefore, behold, the cry of the children of Israel is come unto me, and I have also seen the oppression wherewith the Egyptian oppressed them. So we are yet this day in the land of our captivity. All right, under what? Under hardcore bondage. All right, oppression. Okay, over time it's evolved. Okay, we're not in literal shackles and chains, but we are spiritually. Because of our minds. Jeremiah 17:4. We've been discontinued from our heritage. So this is the worst captivity we ever been into. Because why? Because we didn't know who we are. We didn't know who we were. Okay. So but continue verse 10. Come now therefore, and I will send thee unto Pharaoh, that thou mayest bring forth my people. Bring forth my people, the children of Israel, out of Egypt. So the Lord said, my people. Okay, so the Lord, when going into the great deliverance he did for our people in ancient Egypt, he's getting ready to do it again. Okay, and he didn't deliver all nations. Okay, he delivered his people. Okay, the whole thing is about him delivering his people. Okay, and the Lord raised up Pharaoh because why? Because he's getting ready to show his power. All right, modern day Pharaoh in this time is Donald Trump. Okay, but verse 11, and Moses said unto the Most High, who am I that I should go unto Pharaoh, and that I should bring forth the children of Israel out of Egypt? Because going into again here, making a comparison, to today's time, because there's no new thing under the sun, which I'll get that, but we're small and feeble compared to the mightiness of so-called America. All right, and going into the time of Moses, he was in the same position. Okay, ancient Egypt is a great kingdom. All right, they still talk about that kingdom to this day. You read about it in textbooks, you read about technology, okay, so on and so forth. So what more so-called America? All right, and the Lord's people dwelt in these great so-called civilizations. All right, so here in again these times, the Lord's people are in modern day Egypt, which is so-called America. All right, this is verse 12, 2nd Edges 3 verse 12, and he said, certainly I will be with thee, and this shall be a token unto thee that I have sent thee. When thou hast brought forth the people out of Egypt, ye shall serve the Most High upon this mountain. Verse 13, and Moses said unto the Most High, behold, when I come unto the children of Israel, what shall I say unto them? The God of your fathers hath sent me unto you, and they shall say to me, what is his name? What shall I say unto them? All right, and this goes to why important the name is. Okay, because the Lord has given us the name. All right, that's the name we're supposed to call upon. Okay, especially in the times we're in now. But regardless, I praise the Lord for everything. Okay, because he makes our existence. Okay, and not just that, but he chose us to be his people. We could have been Moabite, we could have been Edomite. We could have been Edomite. But the Lord chose us to be of his seed. Okay, of it being his people, being you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans are the true biblical Israelites. All right, so this is verse 14. And the Most High said unto Moses, I am that I am. All right, and he said, thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, I am. has sent me unto you, and his name is Yahawah. Okay, he exists, he is, you know, because he just is. All right, he always was, always will be, you know, so on and so forth. He is, he was, he will. Okay, he just is. All right, and that's our power. All right, we call upon him. Okay, because he put his name upon us. All right, verse 15. And the Most High said, moreover, unto Moses, thou shalt say unto the children of Israel, the Lord Yahawah, power of your fathers, the power of Abraham, the power of Isaac, and the power of Jacob, have sent me unto you. This is my name forever, and this is my memorial unto all generations. So the Lord said his name is, forever. That's why, brought up Malachi 3:6. The Lord don't change. Okay, so here it is again. We're in the same scenario, all right, in so-called America, all right, being oppressed. All right, look at the origin of the Southern Kingdom getting here. Okay, going in the Northern Kingdom to how they got to where they are now. Okay, they used to run this nation. Okay, going into so-called Native Americans. All right, so-called Mexicans. All right, and so on and so forth. But again, the Lord's getting ready to deliver us. All right, from the hands of our enemies. All right, and I'm gonna bring this out. It's Ecclesiastes chapter 1. Ecclesiastes chapter 1 and verse 9. Yeah, Ecclesiastes chapter 1 verse 9. The thing that hath been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun. So that great deliverance, all right, the Lord raised up Pharaoh. Why? Because there was an ultimate purpose, because the Lord is going to throw Pharaoh down. Okay, in the modern day Pharaoh, what is Donald Trump or whatever president is in office when the Lord officially brings his destruction. All right, you say, oh, the RFID microchip, it didn't exist. All right, but is it new? Okay, it just, the technology advanced. All right, there was branding back then in those times. Okay, but that chip is the modern day brand. Okay, so there's no new thing in the sun. Okay, there's nothing new. All right, this is verse 10. Is there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new? All right, and even if you can get into that argument, the Lord prophesied that it was going to happen. So obviously that technology already existed. It just had to take time for it to manifest here on the planet Earth. Okay, so how could the Lord prophesy of these things to come? All right, he gave John a Revelator, okay, these visions. Okay, if it didn't exist, how could he envision it? Okay, how can you envision something that out of thin air? All right, all inspiration comes from the Most High. All right, so there's no new thing under the sun. Okay, same with these thermonuclear missiles. Okay, how do you think the prophets received these visions? Because the Lord already had that technology invented. He had to put that upon man in his time, all right, to play out as prophecy here on this planet Earth. Okay, so Ecclesiastes chapter 1 and verse 10. Is there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new? It had been already of old. It had been already of old time, which was before us. Exactly. Okay. So what happened? What the Lord did for his people in ancient Egypt, he's going to do it again here in modern day Egypt. Okay. That's why it says in 2 Esdras 15 chapter, he's going to bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm and smite Egypt with plagues as before. Okay. So he's going to do it again. All right. That's why his place is crumbling. All right. Because the Lord's going to deliver his people again. So I'm going to close out here. This Jeremiah chapter 23 verse 7. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord Yahawah, that they shall know, that they shall no more say the Lord liveth, that brought up the children out of the land of Egypt. Okay, because that story is still talked about to this day. That shows you how great that deliverance was. Okay, they make movies. All right, still that inspiration of a deliverance is still talked about today. Okay, everybody refers to the deliverance of the Lord's people in ancient Egypt. Okay. But it's going to happen coming into times where now it's not going to be talked about no more. Okay, why? Because it's going to be talked about. I'm going to continue verse 8. But the Lord liveth, which brought up and led, which brought up and led, and which led the seed of the house of Israel out of the north country. Or what is that north country? Talking about North America. Okay. Okay, because the greatest deliverance, okay, of course, there's going to be deliverance throughout the four corners of the earth, but the greatest deliverance is going to be here in so-called America, all right, being modern-day Egypt. Okay, going into the prophecy of the two parts therein, you know, in the third part, going into the 1/3 of the elect, you know, and the 2/3 of our people, you know, that prophecy is talking about, if you want to get specific, talking about here in so-called America, all right, in Zechariah 13th chapter, okay, if I'm not mistaken, quoting, yeah, Zechariah 13:8, okay, but I read again, Jeremiah 23, start at verse 7. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord YAHAWASHI, that they shall no more say that the Lord liveth, which brought up the children out of the land of Egypt. Okay, so, you know, going back to Ecclesiastes chapter 1, you know, 9, yeah, Ecclesiastes chapter 1, 9 and 10, you know, going to the chariots, you know, the chariots were in the time of ancient Egypt too. Okay, so it's going to be even great. It's going to be even greater than that. Okay, as far as, you know, everything. Okay, you know, this is pretty much, you know, the grand finale, you know, of our affliction, because this is our last captivity. All right, our last punishment. All right, so there's going to be, you know, the greatest deliverance. All right, it's Jeremiah chapter 23, verse 7. Therefore, behold, the days come, said the Lord, that they shall no more say, the Lord liveth, which brought up the children out of the land of Egypt, but the Lord YAHAWASHI liveth, which brought up and which led the seed of the house of Israel out of the north country, and from all the countries where that's the balance right there, and from all countries whether I have driven them. Okay, according to the curses, we've been scattered throughout the four corners. So that's why the deliverance is going to be it's going to, you know, going into the great multitude. All right, you know, it's going to be, you know, deliverance is going to be scattered throughout the planet Earth. All right, because we've been scattered throughout the planet Earth. But again, the greatest deliverance is going to be here in so-called America, because this is going to be the worst place to be. Okay, so automatically this place is going to have, you know, concerning salvation, going to be the greatest salvation. Okay, because nothing's going to survive so-called America besides the Lord's elect. Okay, not a root nor a branch. All right, but when it finishes out, and they shall dwell in their own land. So the Lord is going to what? You know, bring us the kingdom. Okay, and who's going to deliver us in this time? All right, the Lord's going to send his only begotten son, YAHAWASHI. Okay, so that's what the time we're heading into. Okay, a great deliverance. Okay, this calling, you know, is we were not appointed to wrath, but to what? To receive salvation. Lord will be of that number, because there is going to be vessels the Lord's going to have mercy on. Okay, and that's where we're open to be, you know, part of those vessels of honor. Okay, because this place is done. Okay, you know, so hopefully Lord's will, you know, we can get beamed up and get up out of here. So with that, Lord's will is be edifying us. We're going to give our praises to YAHAWASHI, Double honors to the elders and apostles of MILLSTONE. Peace and blessings to the whole Israel.